favorite song. Now it's on the radio. Yeah. Tricking all my money out. Anything you want. Step in out now. Anywhere you want. Diamond rings, cars, living that good life. So sexy, girl, you got me saying, oh, let's get it right now. Oh, gotta get it right, get it right. Oh, get it on right now. Oh, gotta get it right, get it right. 'Cause your body is so hot, girl. So hot, gotta give you what I got. Hey, let me please, hey, let me please, hey, let me please, hey, let me please. It don't get no better than tonight. We're in heaven. This is the best night of my life. 'Cause you're a phenomenon. You're a phenomenon. Nobody does it better. Nothing can compare to you. I could take you around the world. What you waiting for? Lunch in Hollywood, dinner in New York. Expensive shoes, I know you like living it up. So sexy, girl, I'm just saying. Oh, let's get it right now. Oh, gotta get it right, get it right. Oh, get it on right now. Oh, gotta get it right, get it right. 'Cause your body is so hot, girl. So hot, gotta give you what I got. Hey, let me please, hey, let me please, hey, let me please, hey, let me please. It don't get no better than tonight. We're in heaven. This is the best night of my life. 'Cause you're a phenomenon. You're a phenomenon. Nobody does it better. Nothing can compare to you. 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 Something that I wanna say. Can I play? Unforgettable, unpredictable. Can't leave you alone, so incredible. It's all on you. I got you alone now. What you gonna do? Can't nobody else mess with you. From your head down to your shoes. Ooh, it don't get no better than tonight. We're in heaven. This is the best night of my life. 'Cause you're a phenomenon. You're a phenomenon. Nobody does it better. Nothing can compare to you. It don't get no better than tonight. We're in heaven. This is the best night.
Okay, well, I'm only on the.
Just came around to say it's on. All that you need is someone to know you. You need to be treated like somebody loves you. And I don't wanna see you breaking down. I can change your world. I just have one question. Do you believe in miracles? We can change the world, but only if you try to believe in miracles. It's like that. It's like that. When you're looking in the mirror, take a little time to see what I see when I look into your eyes. If you give it to me, I'll give you anything that your heart desires. I can change your world. I just have one question. Do you believe? But only if you try to believe. Do you believe in miracles? I just have let it go, let it flow, take control. Oh, yeah, change goes, change, yeah, to believe.
What's up? What's up? What's up, y'all?
Hey,
What up?
Everybody good?
yeah, we good.
Who's over here?
Yes, our first show. I want to welcome everybody that came into the room. We got about 17 people watching us right now.
Exciting.
So, this is the Conversation with James Billings and Friends, and these are my counterparts, my co-hosts.
Your friends.
Yeah, my friends. The people that's going to be debating with me all day. So, Chef Tammy's in the building. How was your weekend,
Hey,
Chef Tam?
I'm good. My weekend was great. Went to the beach, spent a little time with the hubby. 87 degrees out here. How
Right.
was your weekend, Drippy Dre?
I ain't complaining. I heard New York had rain, so I took the plane to Biscayne. You know what I mean? MIA got away for the weekend, chilling. Everything's blessed. Empress, how you?
I am jealous of you and Chef Tammy. Dre, when you come back this way, bring some sunshine with you. Dr. Feel Good, you gonna make us feel good?
I'm trying to make everybody feel good. So, I'm happy about the platform. This is our first live show. We're going to be doing this every Sunday at 7 p.m. So for the people that's not tuned in or don't know what's going on, make sure y'all go to our official page. Is the Conversation with James Billings and Friends on Facebook. Make sure you join, hit that button. But we had some real interesting topics over the last few weeks where we caught a lot of engagement. And one of the topics was polygamy. We got a lot of interaction, a lot of feedback about it. So what's your thoughts, Chef Tam, about polygamy? Is that something you might dabble into, something you might get into at some point, or what?
No, it's definitely probably not for me, but I do have a lot of questions. I'm really excited about this segment.
Right.
It's really interesting. It's very informative, and no judgment from me. Hey, listen, just tell me why it works for you.
Right.
What about you, Dre?
I'm on the fence. That's definitely not my type of thing. I just know what it is with the responsibilities of taking care of one heart. So to have to tend to two would be like a lot. So I'm just, and having a side chick before and playing that type of game, I just know it wasn't really my thing. So I kind of like gave up my player ways. I don't know if I got to know the rules. I don't know the rules. I'm interested. I'm gonna hear more. Well, let's get back. I'll get back to you later. Empress, talk about how you feel.
I grew up an only child. I don't want to share. Call me so.
So,
Dr. Phil?
I mean, what man wouldn't want to have more than one woman under one roof, and it's okay with everybody, right? Come on, man. Like, serious. Men don't want to have more than one woman. Y'all
I
gotta
don't
be
know. That
kidding
sounds like a lot of managing.
me. Yeah, it can be. I don't
Two
know if that's
fights. If you
something.
had two fights.
Right. I don't know if that's something particularly for me, but to each his own. But I guess we could actually dive more into it because we got my guest B's P tonight. He's actually in a polygamous relationship. He has two wives. They live under one roof. And I'm interested to see how this whole thing works because so
Yes.
many people, I left a comment today on the page, and so many people was like, nah, that's crazy. I wouldn't be doing that. So I want to see what would make someone get into this type of relationship and how it all works. So y'all want to bring them in the room?
Absolutely.
Welcome B's in the room, y'all. Let's welcome him into the room.
Yay!
Okay, here he is. Bees, welcome to the conversation with James.
What's going on,
Burns and friends,
everybody?
my brother.
What's
Hey,
going
how are
on,
you?
everybody?
How
Salute
are
to the
you?
men, to the women. You know what I mean?
Right.
Right.
So, I mean, I had put a post up, Bees, yesterday talking about polygamy and alternate lovers, and everyone seems to have their own, I guess, their own look or take on it. And so, what made you get into polygamy?
Oh man, that's well, I'm glad we have it. First of all, to everybody, my name is BSP. Just a little background on myself. My Hebrew name is Asha Sha'ala. You know what I mean? I'm originally from Cleveland, but I now reside in Atlanta for the last year with my family. Entrepreneur. We opening up a vegan lounge here in Atlanta in the summertime. We've already
Nice.
kicked off the grand opening. We're doing pop-up events that went extremely incredible. Down here, the vegan lifestyle is like heavily supported by Black people, so that's a beautiful thing. And been in the music industry, that 10 plus years, signed to Universal Records at one point, mid 2000s, recorded with some of the greats, Fat Joe's, Fabulous, Sleepy Brown, wrote on 2 movies, The Longest Yard with Nelly Adams Sandler and Chris Rock, and Hollywood Homicide with Harrison Ford and Josh Hartnett, produced Scott Storch, Eric Sermon, DJ Premier. I mean, I've done a lot of things in the music industry as well. So getting to a state in my life, getting to the point where I'm at right now, when you ask that question, I always give the analogy of, first and foremost, us as a people finding out who we are. And it takes a lot of people, it's just like understanding what your dream is in life. A lot of people don't really know what their purpose was on earth. So you fall into the routine of, socialism, whether it's going to school, go to college to get a job, get married, hopefully one day, and, till you get old and gray on sitting in the rocking chair, drinking lemonade with your wife and your husband, till the Lord call you. Right. Me understanding myself, first and foremost, when you go into the psychology behind why men end up, quote unquote, lying and cheating, I give this analogy, you take a 13-year-old boy, you take a 13-year-old girl, and that 13-year-old boy, if without a father around, usually this has been the case, especially since the 80s. I say the late 70s going into the crack era of the 80s and coming out of the 60s with the heroin era, right. You don't have no fathers there. So that 13-year-old boy, he looks at his older brothers, if he have any, his uncles and cousins, and then men on the street as to be his example. The example that we see at 13 years old is promiscuity. You know what I mean? You're taught promiscuity. You'll even be in the locker room with your friends at 8th grade, 9th grade. And if you haven't had sex yet as a boy, you're going to lie and say you did. Right. Because you feel almost shamed that you didn't. So while that 13-year-old boy is taught promiscuity, if you take that same 13-year-old girl, if she grew up in a household with her mothers, which is normally the case, and you got grandmama and them or Medea and them, or you got all these, these women in your life that the younger women in my era looked up to, even within the crack era and things of that nature, they were taught preservation. girl, don't you go out there be sleeping with no bunch of boys. You're gonna be looked at as a hoe and this, that, and the third, and that was their teacher. So they looked at family. So now you get that 13-year-old boy, he's now 16, 17. Let's just go through the process. He's 17, 18 years old. He got his high school sweetheart. Now let's say since 13, 14, he started having sex. By the time he meets that one girl that he figures that he does like and he love or whatever the case may be, you know what I mean? He's had 3 to 4 years of learned behavior. Whereas though she has maybe lost her virginity, and if so, it was a one-time experience and she's looking forward to a relationship. So she meets that 18-year-old boy who's 18 and he's been, for the last 5 years, had a learned behavior of sexual activity. When he meets her, that's her first quote-unquote heartbreak and disappointment because it don't work. Then she goes into college, 22, meets her college sweetheart, but this time he's 21, 22. So he 8 times out of 10, he got a learned behavior of maybe 7, 8 years now. So you fast forward to 30 years old and serious and talking about getting married. That 13-year-old girl, she's maybe had 3 relationships. We talking about marriage now, it's ridiculous, but you talking maybe 3 to 4 relationships, breakups here and there, talk to a couple guys in between. But her whole process of thinking is marriage, monogamy, one-on-one. That 30-year-old young man that's standing before her really loves her, but his learned behavior has been 15 to 16 years of promiscuity. Being promiscuous, and he's out there moving around. So he's looking her in her eyes, she's looking him in his eyes, and then now he makes a vow before the Lord that in hopes and in prayer that you live to see 80 years old or so, that he's telling this young woman that for the next 50 years, he's only going to sleep with her for the rest of his life, and that's just not reality. It's not true, and every man knows this. However, they won't. Me myself personally, I was willing to listen. I've been with my wife. I've been with the 20 years. You know what I'm saying? And then I met my new wife and been together with her 5 years, and we've living under the one roof for 1 year, right? Mm-hmm. Right. What I wasn't going to do, I was that 30-year-old man looking my wife in her eyes. But what I wasn't going to do was sell her on a dream that without a shadow of a doubt, I'm only going to be with you for the rest of my life. And I'm never, ever, ever sleeping with another woman again. That's not being honest. Only thing I can tell her was that I'm going to try my best. Right. That may be the case. And so nowadays, men know this about themselves. It take a man to get to 40 years old before he understand or before he can say, "Oh, I throw the child in." You know, I'm just gonna be with one woman, like you say, crazy my younger time. But right now, that's not what you necessarily looking for. But we older now. You know, a woman is on a biological time clock as far as her having babies and things of that nature. So she got to get that going before 30, really and truthfully. So now she's dealing with this man or these men with all this learned behavior of 15 years or so of in and out of relationship with women and not really valuing the thought process and the principles and the moral aspect of a relationship, never even being taught it, because no man was ever around to teach us how to be men, let alone how to police a relationship. You see? Right. So we didn't get any of that. So I tell my wife, I say, listen, well, look, you know, it is a difficult thing. And I'm gonna let y'all talk, but I want to get in some stats because polygyny is a thing of nation building. Like the sister, I think Empress, before we came on, she was talking about.
So hold on, before you get into that, right? Mm-hmm. I want to bring the people to how you change that mindset. Like how was you able to go from being promiscuous? Because most men, and that's what I tell people, like most men, that's how we grow up. If you're not dealing with a whole bunch of women, then you're looked at different. Like you're just as a young man, you're looked at like, okay, if I got 5 or 6 chicks, why don't you? And so you're starting at 13, 14 already. Like my mom's told me, and it was not in a bad way. My mom's told me, don't have one girlfriend. when I was young, and it was basically to say she don't want you to fall in love with one person. But you know, you take that and run with it. When you get old, like, okay, that's what it is. Mommy said that. So I want to know, how did you get from being promiscuous to being able to talk to two women that you love and marry them both and get them under one roof?
Well, for me, man, knowledge is everything. So I had to go back and through history and find out, how did we get to this state to where as though a man falls under the category of being demeaned or demeaning, because of his sexuality, and understanding that monogamy is a new way of living under the Roman Catholic auspices, right? That's not something that who we are as a people before we were brought here. So when you go through the world, polygyny is more of a way and more of the way in other cultures than it is monogamy. So once I start doing that, I start feeling like, listen, one thing I'm not going to allow nobody to do is turn me into a liar.
Right.
Because that's what most men have. That's what they do. You know what I'm saying? They lie. And I'm not giving up my integrity for myself for no woman. You know what I mean? If I got to be by myself, that's going to be the case.
Right.
So
Right.
I said, well, you know what? I went to my wife and said, listen, I'm not going to go be laying down with no woman and then come home like men do and then get in the bed with this woman and you sat there and you know you just was doing what you was out doing and you can just lay there next to her like ain't nothing happened. Well, for me, I couldn't do that. Like, you know what I mean? The times that it may have happened in my life, I wrestled with that. That really bothered me because I felt like it was a lot of guilt behind it. And I'm like, well, I know me. So why should I feel guilty behind this when this is who I am? And then once I started understanding who we are as so-called Black people and our history, because history, you can't know where you're going or even who you are at this present moment without knowing from whence you came. And then my standpoint is more biblical. So there is no sleeping in those same beds, the women interacting with each other. That's not what this is about. This is order. And like I said, the sister, what I was going into was, this ain't no freaky stuff at all.
Right.
This is order, and this is building. We went through. We brought all of our incomes together, and I'm down here in Atlanta in a subdivision community where the houses starting at $400,000 to $1 million or better.
That's what you're saying, Dad.
And during this time, when that pandemic hit, we didn't want for nothing.
Right.
You know what I mean? And all praises to the Most High. And just being thankful because I understood what comes with it. If women can put aside their emotions, and then a lot can be. So that's what brought me to this point. Not wanting to be a liar. Of course, because when I told my wife 2014, she was like, I'm not doing that. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm not doing that. How did
you get into them?
Well, my daughter, I said, well, you know what, then I guess that's gonna be it, because I love you more than to just be lying to you.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? But then she had a lot to think about, because then when my daughter was 14 at the time and she stepped, I said, well, I'm going with my dad. And so now she's 14, so you can't make her, go with you. My children are like, they to me. You know what I mean? They stick to me. I got three boys and a girl. And so when I said that, you got a lot to think about. So now you got to go out there and find another man. He got to learn all your flaws all over again.
Right.
He got to put up with what it is that I done put up with.
Right.
He got to see you raw and uncut. And he got to still love you.
And still love you, right.
And see, and then I know the men that's out there.
Right.
Y'all see out there, I see them too.
Right.
And I know who I am. So I tell you go out there, I challenge you to go out there and find somebody as good as me. Hey, listen, and not saying that you can't. He may look better than me. He may have more money than me, but he ain't gonna lead you the way I lead you. And he ain't gonna lead your household. So to wrap it up, I teach biblical scholarship, and of course belonging to the Hebrew Israelite community. once they kept hearing me teaching and on the internet, you know what I mean? I hope, you know, with what I do in the community I'm in, I'm well over 1 million views with my videos and things of that nature. So we would go to, you know, conferences, things of that nature, and they saw how the people would take to me. And I'm gonna tell you this, and I'm gonna digress right here, but I do want to get in these numbers. Once when over here in this lane that I'm in, it's more order.
Right.
You see, I don't have no urge because I broke out of that mind frame.
Right.
So I don't have an urge like I see cats out here. I'm free.
Yeah, you got to
I'm literally
free.
free. So men that are not still in their 25s to 40, man, they all not. There are exceptions to everything. So I'm not. It's always exceptions. Let that be known. But we talking about 13% of the population in America being blacks. And then you talking about that's 44 million out of 331 million people in America. And you talking about 52% are women that make up that 44 million.
Right.
So you talking about a disproportionate amount of number of women to men. And then you come down here, that's all you, I don't know wherever y'all go, everywhere you go, all you see is women. Women. You don't really see no men because the men that are good men, they got somebody.
Right.
And then you got 3 million locked up in prison that are of color.
Right.
You got a growing number of homosexuals.
Right.
And then not even homosexuals, you got a growing number of effeminate men. They ain't even homosexual, they're just men with women tendencies.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you got over amount of men that are just straight up wicked.
Right.
Evil, dirty niggas out here, you know what I mean? So when she get with that good man, 9 times out of 10, he gonna have a woman.
Yeah.
Right. So let me ask you this question. How do you said it was like women are more emotional when it comes to these relationships. There's a lot of people that look at this and think of it as being wrong. And a lot of people kind of put the I would never do this. But it seems like it makes a lot of sense financially.
Well, it definitely make a lot of sense financially, man. We grown. You talking about, man, listen, with the blessings of the Most High and me being humble and in all humility as I say this, and it ain't never about money because I'm about spirituality and I'm about loving my people before anything. However, you know, and you go into the scriptures, which is what I believe in, you know what I'm saying? You know, the scripture tell you, you know what I'm saying, any man that leave it all, house, parents, children, for the kingdom of the Most High sake shall receive manifold more in this present day and in life to come. So when I decided that that's what I was going to do, the blessings are coming. So financially it makes sense, yes, because I can see we got a plan 3-5 years. We should be well over in the millionaire, you know what I'm saying, status, or, you know, status quo, whatever the case may be. And yes, it was, I didn't rush into it. You see what I'm saying? Because I had to, any man that do that, you got to build a foundation with that woman you was with first. And then she got to trust you unbelievably. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, she has to trust you. And then there's a way to do it. You don't just do it and then pull them together. I had to have them sit down, meet each other. And then when I sat them down, they thought I was going to still be there, but I pulled it, you know, sit them down and left.
Nice.
Now y'all sit there and talk about whatever it is that y'all want to talk about. And then I left my daughter there as the mediator. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That was a good approach. I just wanna interject one thing. There's a few questions in the room, and someone said there's nothing spiritual about this at all.
Right.
and one thing I realized is people use spirituality. I'm not a Christian, I'm Muslim, but people use spirituality as a way of trying to say this is right and you are wrong. I just feel like, listen, you know, why would someone think this has nothing to do with spirituality? Why would they think that?
Well, for one reason, most black people in America, they subscribe to this.
Right.
This Bible right here, right? But most black people in America don't know nothing about this Bible. You see, they've been taught under the religion of Christianity. But when you really get into this book, that religion, Christianity, it does not teach you the truth of this book. Case in point, and I'm not even going to go into it like that. People, women that say, or men that say, well, Adam and Eve, God created one man to be with one woman. But when you read this book, Adam and Eve wasn't the first two people created in this book. You got to go to Genesis, the first chapter, the first chapter, and the 26th and the 27th verse. Because if Adam and Eve was the first two people that was created in this book, and when Cain killed his brother Abel, where did his wife come from that he found in the 4th chapter, that he found his wife in the land of Nod? Where did she come from? Because it should have only been Cain, Adam, and Eve. But Christianity would suggest that Cain had to have slept with his mama, and that's incest, because how else would any other people have come about if it was just Cain after he killed his brother Abel and it's just his dad and his mom? How did other people get here? But when you go into the 4th chapter, it tells you that Cain, when he left out of the garden and he was crying and praying to the Most High, he also said, "Please don't let them kill me." Who is the them? You see? And then he also said, then he went into the land of Nod and found his wife. So they'll say it because they base it upon the religion of Christianity. But if you understand this book, that's not the truth. Is what being taught in these churches is not the truth.
I'm going to interject for a little bit because I grew up Catholic. I'm no longer Catholic, but I also took time studying the other two Abrahamic religions in their home. As far as the book of Genesis that you're talking about, it's also written in the Quran and in the Torah. And what you said, as far as Adam and Eve not being the only person, that is 100% true. And that is taught if you have a religious leader that's more about spirituality than followers.
Right.
So the best, so we got to be a little bit careful with religion because. Right. And part of religion is studying your own faith and questioning your own faith. So you're correct. A lot of people don't actually read it to learn from it and read it to study it and question it. But
until you ladies and the brothers and everybody in the chat room, you say this ain't spiritual. What's spiritual about fatherless homes? What's spiritual about a woman having 2 to 3 baby daddies with 2 children by each of them or children by each of them? What's spiritual about a man making children and then leaving the house or not being there because of infidelity? What's spiritual about that? What's spiritual about if a man has a lady, and the scripture tell you in Deuteronomy the 39th chapter, the 32nd verse, I kill, I make alive. So everything that was born is of God. So if a child is born by another woman, why would not that man be able to raise his children in the home with him being in the home with the mothers? Why would you not? We all say it takes a village, but people don't really understand what that slogan really means. It takes a village. They don't understand what that means.
Right.
You see, that's why grandmama and them down south, she knew granddaddy had Sally Mae had children down the street or around the block or whatever. Grandmama ain't leave granddaddy.
Yeah, you're right.
She ain't. You didn't hear.
He's right.
You MF. You this. You that. You didn't hear none of that. But I understand that women grew up in this society under the thought process of one man, one woman. So I'm definitely sensitive to that, and I understand that that's all they have known. So, at the end of the day, we all getting duped here because it's destroying us as a people. But that white woman, she ain't about to leave Ted or Bob, the CEO or the COO of that corporation, and she know Ted and Bob flying to Dallas and flying to Utah, and he ain't talking about no other woman. He buying prostitutes.
Right.
You see? But all she gonna do is put little Becky and little Johnny to bed, because they got ballerina practice and soccer practice tomorrow, and they're going to curl up on that couch with a bottle of bourbon and a glass of bourbon. They're going to call up Wendy, and then they're going to get on the phone and talk about Bob and Ted and what they're doing, and they're going to go to sleep. And they're going to wake that family up.
So let me interject real quick, because I think, you know, and this is just my perspective, and then Chef Tammy and Drippy Dre, I want to see what y'all have to say. But I think a lot of people approach what you're saying from a spiritual or religious perspective, and I think that's where they have a problem with it. Now, I just want to say this. This would be probably a difficult marriage for me to be in, because as I told my cast members, I'm a one-woman man, so it would just be hard for me to manage that. You know, like, because I know what it takes. You're dealing with people, and just dealing with people is different emotions and personalities, and you got to be a strong brother to be in that situation. But most people approach this from a spiritual or religious background, and I think that's why they have a problem with it. Do you feel that when people know about it, do they normally come at you from a religious standpoint, like quoting things or something like that?
Yeah, Christian, yeah, of course but they don't do me, because when people follow me, they know that I know this book, because I teach this book. So they don't, you know, this book is set up under polygyny. It's not set up under monogamy. I'm talking about from Lamech in the beginning, Genesis, the 2nd, 3rd chapter, 4th. He took 2 wives. I mean, all through it, the Most High even gave laws on what you're supposed to do if you have 2 wives. And then people would say, well, that's the Old Testament. It never changed. You see? So I don't get into the spiritual. I think it's beautiful. One thing that you can say for anybody that say they love Christ, or they bring up Christ, or whatever the case may be, Christ told you to love your neighbor as you love yourself. So you're supposed to want, if you understand that right now today, our nation of people, we're declining. They put out a stat from the U.S. Census Bureau that in the next 40 years, even though we're highly in America, we can become extinct with all of the black on black crime, the killing of, you know what I'm saying, police on black men, and us killing each other, right? You talking about, if we don't do something and do something fast, when it come down to our women being out here, what are they going to do? What are they supposed to do? What are all these single women supposed to do? Just continue to pray for a man, and then here you are 40 years old, you still unmarried, and you 40, and your daughter's 18, 20, 21, 22, and y'all both can have the same conversation when it comes down to men. That's stagnancy. That's no growth. If you're a 35, 40-year-old woman, and you can sit down and have the same conversation that your 17, 18-year-old daughter can have when it's concerning men, there was no growth in understanding what is going on in our nation when it comes down to men.
Let me ask you a question, and I see a couple of questions in the chat and along this line. Do you truly believe that the women are truly happy, or did they settle knowing that, hey, I'm not going to get a man of whatever caliber it is that I want that's going to just be with only me? Do you think on their end, conscious or not, that it was a settlement thing? Because that can happen, and I'm sure it does.
You in my situation?
Yeah, because I can't ask you to speak on someone else's.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I asked a great question. I asked that question. You know what I mean? I surely don't make you have to settle. I told them both, any given moment. Do you feel like you don't want to be with me no more? What can I do? I can't force you to stay with me. So if that's what you want to do, then that's what you do. They both here with me right now. You know what I mean? And I've never had. There's never been one argument like where I had to step in between them or nothing like that. There's never been none of that. I haven't never seen no cutting of no eyes. They cook together. They, you know what I'm saying? We go on family trips together. Of course, there's a I'm sure they have their moments. You know what I mean? As being women, I'm sure they have their moments.
How do you handle disagreements?
Huh?
How do you handle disagreements? Because I'm sure it happens. It's a relationship regardless.
You mean disagreements between them two?
No, between the three of you. You're running a household, so.
I mean, to be totally honest with you, and I'm so sincere. Listen, it had to start with the women. You know what I'm saying? Now we talk of spirituality, right? So according to the scripture, a woman is supposed to be submissive to her man. It tells you to submit to your husband as you would submit to Christ. You see? And then it also tells you, just like Christ is the head of the church, the man is the head of you. And he said that so you are submitted and in total subjection to him in everything. So I don't run it. Listen, I know that, that's why I love watching Dame Dash, because a man, if he's smart, he's going to understand you can't take yourself further than where a woman can take you.
That's a fact.
I'm going to say that again.
Right.
You can't take yourself
100.
further than a woman can take you.
I concur.
You see what I'm saying? So you got to understand when to put the rope out and when to let it, and then when to be the man, the leader, step in, and when to step back and let the woman take control. You see, you have to have that gauge. And listen, it was an experiment for me, experiment for them as well. I've never done this before. All I know is the only thing I know that wins is the truth and honesty. And so if we argue, which we really don't have that many arguments, like we don't go through the day arguing, and if it is, it's something petty and it's over. You know what I mean? You ain't supposed to, for the religious people, you're not supposed to let the sun go down on your wrath, right? So you're supposed to work everything out before you go to sleep.
Right. So I think Jeff Tammy,
Yeah, I just had a quick question just based on what you were just saying. Now let me ask you something. Were both of your wives, were they Israelite before you met them, or is that something that they got into because you were into it? Is this something you taught them? Were they already into the religion? I mean,
no, well, it just started with me in 2013. So my wife I was with the longest, no, we weren't.
okay.
And my wife that I ended up meeting and bringing in 5 years ago, she wasn't either, but she came to an event. And so even at that time, I was fairly new in it. And to be honest with you, yes, it's about the Bible and the Lord, you know what I mean? However, it's about love more than anything else. Meaning, for my wife that I was with the longest, like I said, she had to take into account, we got a daughter together, is me coming to you being, that's one thing she always told me that she commended me for, because I always was honest. Even at the beginning of our marriage, 3 years in, I come sit down like, listen, I'm 33. Like I'm having thoughts of dating. And I want to, you know what I mean? I'm feeling that, you know what I mean? She's like, well, what does that mean? You know what I mean? Or, well, what if I had those feelings? I can't tell you. You can't do it. You know what I'm saying? I'll be a hypocrite. So I checked in with her like that. You know what I'm saying? Throughout my growth as a man. And I'm sure that what she tells me that she commended me for, that made her respect me more and was able for her to. So yes, to answer your question, the teachings plays a part in it. And then I think now with just the way that this world is going, and my 2-year-old son that's by my new wife, he loves my wife I was with the longest. Like he loves, you know what I mean? He loves her. He got the best of work world. He got 2 moms, but he know who his mommy is. He loves his mommy.
Right.
He calls my other wife me mom. And she loves him. And I mean, it's what's going on over here is truly beyond. If somebody talk about anything spiritual, I ain't good enough to do this. You know what I'm saying? I ain't good enough for all that the Lord is doing. I ain't nobody, man. I ain't good enough to make all this happen. So it got to be the Most High or something powerful, because I can't do this.
So Drippy, you got a question?
Yeah, I was just saying, being that you're raising up a polygamy household and your daughter, she mediated the relationship as far as it coming up. This is a lifestyle that you're looking forward to carrying upon, and you wouldn't ever interject with your children carrying upon this lifestyle either.
No, my son is my oldest son is 24. My other one will turn 23, and both of them is by my first relationship.
Okay.
And then I got a daughter by my wife that's in here that I was with the longest. She 18, and then I got a 2-year-old by my wife that I was that I just newly acquired maybe 5 years ago. So we're in the house, just me, both my wives, my 2-year-old and my 18-year-old.
Right.
In order for this to work, we had to come get a huge. I mean, you had to be like going into a little mansion or something.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? It had to be space. It had to be, you know what I mean? We spaced out.
You got a nice spot,
doing
big.
good.
You got a nice spot.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You know,
very nice.
You know, so it had it, and all praise to God, man. Like I said,
all praise due.
I mean, listen. You hear me talking, but I'm telling you, when you live your life as honestly, and you gonna still have your moments, but you try to live as honestly and truth, and put the truth and let the truth lead you. And then and even if that means you gonna take some L's, you gotta sacrifice things. God gonna bring you back around. You know what I mean? Standing stronger. So that's what transpired here, man. I sometimes I wake up myself and be like, you know, I almost faint or like have lighthead spells. Like I don't even know what's going. Like what is going on? How did this happen? And of course, the next question, don't let you go, is what do you plan on getting any more?
Right.
Oh, yeah, good question.
Good question.
Do you plan on getting any more? And listen, I don't know. I don't know. I know at this moment I'm not running out here seeking it. But if it happens, I didn't plan for this.
Right.
So if it happens, it happens. And like I said, a woman for me, or when women look at me or they see what I'm doing, you can only say, well, he put forth his best effort. And and we are. And listen, my wife I was with the longest. Look, man, you know, you talking about a woman opening up her door for somebody else.
Could I say
and
something?
I can't do nothing but, you know, I bow to that, you know, all the time.
Could I say something really quickly?
Yes, sir.
Before I answer, there's some questions that I wanna get to that people are asking in the chat. But I would just want to say this to you, my brother. When you speak about your, and this is to everybody that's in the room, that's in the chat room, and I respect everybody's position, whether you're for it or against it, but you cannot deny the way this brother speaks about his wives and his family.
Absolutely.
That ain't about no nonsense. That's about love. That's about working together. That's about having an understanding that most people can't do with just one another.
One relationship.
That's what my question is.
Hey, listen,
I want
the divorce rate is over 40% because of monogamy, not because of polygyny.
Right.
You're talking one-on-one relationships are failing, not polygynous relationships. Right. You don't really even hear about no polygynous relationships in the Black community.
Sheesh.
I wanted to ask you if you could speak to the level of, because I think a lot of people think of this as like an easier way out and that it's not work. So I wanted you to speak to your relationship with your wife. Like, this is not this one ahead of this one and this is just my side. Like, these are your wives and people that you love and respect, and you guys have a home together. And I wanted you to speak to that because people think it's the easy way out. A lot of people.
I mean, first and foremost, you gonna get with, like I said, I met my wife I was with the longest, because I don't even say first or second. If you notice, I don't even use
I did notice
first, second. I don't even put that in my mouth. I've been with her since 2001, right? I meet my wife I'm with now, my newer wife, in 2016. I meet her, I say, listen, I've been with this woman 15 years. 15 years. You cannot come in and think that I'm going to have the same aptitude of love out the gate for you as I would for this woman I've been with 15 years.
That's real.
Now, what's G also about my newer wife coming in? She understood that. And she didn't expect that. You see what I'm saying? So she pays respect to the same woman that I pay respect to. Because at the end of the day, she loves me. She wants the best for me as well as I want for myself, and as well as my wife I've been with the longest one for me. So the thing is, them two being able to break through any jealousy. And see, listen, I'm going to tell women this, and for all the people that's in the comment, the women that's in the comment, I haven't seen them with anything. Listen, if you're going to speak about religion and spirituality, jealousy, hatred, and envy, all three of them are bred off of evil. Nothing Christ-like about jealousy, envy, and hatred. So if your scripture tell you in Ecclesiastes, the 26th chapter and the 6th verse, but a grief of sorrow, and I think it says despair, is a woman that is jealous over another woman. And a scourge of the tongue communicated with all, meaning you know how a woman get when she find out you another woman is you about to get some, it's gonna be hell in that house.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, why would the Most High put that in the scripture if a woman can be jealous over another woman? Because behind jealousy, envy, and hatred is evil. So my wife coming into this had to understand it, but then I had to speak to my wife I was with the longest and be like, okay, well, listen, she's still a woman. I got to give her attention. I got to, nurture her as a man. I got to pay some attention to her as well. So you have to allow me to be able to do that as well. And I'm saying, and I'm sure it, like they had moments, but I can honestly say it hasn't been no contention in the house. And if they've had it, they doing a good job at, keeping it away, because at the end of the day, you ain't talking about no women that need me. You know what I'm saying? My one wife, she's a executive chairman assistant for Ernst & Young, one of the biggest accounting firms in the world.
Right.
You know what I mean? Been making over 6 figures, so she don't need me.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then my younger wife, she teaching boys and girls clubs, been over children, things of that nature, and she can take care of herself. When I met her, she was taking care of herself. She don't need me when it come down to finances.
And aren't they entrepreneurs as well?
Well, we all are becoming into that. My young wife, she owns a magazine, a Black woman's magazine that she's on her 4th issue with. That's doing extremely well. It's called Pacemakers. And then, like I said, my wife that I've been with the longest, she has a high position in an accounting firm. She's buried. However, she trusts in me, and now we have this vegan lounge that we when we started our pop-up events, we're showing that if we just go from Thursday to Sunday, we can easily pull in $16,000 to $20,000 a weekend.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, like I said again, if you say it ain't spiritual, then you giving me too much credit, because I can't do this.
Let me ask this question, because there's a few questions in the room that I want to get to, and we got to get to the next guest soon. But we're gonna bring you back, Bees, and we need to do a part 2 of this, because this is very interesting. So, Anna wanted to know, and her question was, and I'm a paraphrasing a while ago, and then Chef Tammy and Drake can chime in after me, and then we could go to the Empress after that. Anna wanted to know, would you allow the women in your household to have multiple men? I'm paraphrasing. It might have not been, but she was asking if it would be allowable for them to have multiple husbands, basically.
Well, I mean, the women that I'm with, they wouldn't. That's a typical question. The women I'm with wouldn't want multiple husbands, but the multiple husbands in the household is clearly unnatural. You want me to show you how it's unnatural? Because if a woman is in the house with 2 men and she get pregnant, whose baby is it?
Right.
She gonna have to wait till she had that baby.
Well, hold on. Should it matter? They're all married.
No, but here's what I'm saying. Of course, it matters.
Good point,
a child still need. I know you playing, but a child still need to know who his father is. Just like my son knows who his mommy is. The child still need to know that. So they're gonna have to be on a 9-10 month waiting period until the baby come and get blood tests to find out.
Not if she knows her cycle.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I can tell you that.
Listen, that ain't always the case. And with all this GMO they putting in food, women's cycles is haywire right now. Women's cycles.
You right. He's right. It's
hard for a woman to know her own cycle. She'd be like, I thought I just got,
Right. I'm 2 days late.
You know what I mean? So to answer that question, if they would I be for it? No, I wouldn't be for it. And because like I said, because of what I stand on, that's not it. That is the definition of adultery. A woman is sleeping with outside of her husband, or a man sleeps with a woman that is married to another man. Go look in the book of Leviticus as the law.
But there are cultures in Africa currently where it's not polygamy, it's polygyny, and there's one woman with several husbands. So it does happen, and it does work, and it is our culture.
Well, I was sure, because I go through Africa, the Igbo tribe, from all those tribes. I ain't never see. I'm not saying it's not there, but if that's happening, that's like one of those
anomalies.
Those like one of those what's that show that come on? That's one of them history moments of that's something that is obscure, and that is definitely something that is not known in Africa. That's not something that's known in Africa. I'm not saying it don't exist. I'm just saying that that's not the norm. The norm is a man having multiple wives, and guess what? They ain't tripping over there like they do over here. But I understand why the women over here in America cannot understand this, let alone, subscribe to it. I understand. Right. I definitely understand.
Well, I go ahead, Drippy. I know it was supposed to go to Drippy and Chef Tammy, so go ahead.
I ain't got nothing else to say. Chef Tammy, you can handle that.
Bees P, I really don't have any much to say. It's not often that I'm speechless, but I'm really kind of speechless at this point. You were extremely informative. You answered every question I really had. I mean, quite honestly,
president.
Not that I would even still say that it's something for me, but you gave me the answers that I was looking for, and not on a silly type level, but I mean, you're really breaking it down and biblically, how about the fact that it is about love, you know what I'm saying? And that's where it truly stems from. And it's not some freaky deaky, crazy type of thing. This is a family. This is two marriages. You are the husband to two women, and you must be there for them equally. And I respect that. I totally respect it. Is it for me? No, but I have a whole new understanding and respect for it, though. I will say that much.
You know what's crazy? Thank you, Chef Tammy. You know what's crazy about this, though? The majority of the women that have something to say negative, or just a lot of women in general, again, there are exceptions to every rule. Most women have talked to a man who they knew had a woman.
Bow.
So you've been in a polygynous relationship before anyway. Right. The difference between your polygynous relationship and my polygynous relationship is that mine was in the open, truthful, and on the table, and yours was deceptive, behind the scene, and hidden. And you was okay with that. A lot of women is okay with that because you know why? They be like, well, I'm not the woman that at home that don't know this, that, and third, and I'm getting everything that I want from it, and I know. And so the most women have been in polygynous relationships anyway. And then to close it, you in one now. You just don't know you in one.
Listen, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna bring Bees back for part 2 of this because
thank you very much, Bees. Give it up, everybody.
We have another guest, and we're gonna talk about alternative lovers in your room. Now it's not in your room, but welcoming alternative lovers in your relationship. It's not polygamy, but it's where people say they want to spice up their relationship. And as soon as she comes into the room, we'll start talking to her about her marriage and how it works for her. Everybody, see, one thing that we have to respect about our show is everyone has an opinion. Nobody's right, nobody's wrong. I love the comments and the people with their passion about how they feel. But once again, that's just your perspective and how you see it, and we all respect it. No matter if it's right or wrong, I don't think people should tell people what they should be doing. That's just my opinion.
Yo, who is Priest Brooklyn? He is hilarious.
That's my boy. Priest said he'd be scared that the two women would set him up and burn his beds up.
You know what I'm saying?
He said he need a food taste.
Hey, Priest better be concerned with not saying him, but just throwing it out there. The men, they better be concerned with them women that they lying to.
Right.
That's
the one that's gonna burn you down.
That's the one. That's the one.
You know what I'm saying? That the one that you sit up here having to lie to all the time because you can't be upfront and real because you got house together, cars together, business together, equity together, and you can't come in there and tell that woman, I got a woman across town, or
Right.
I've been dealing with this, and you're not gonna do that
You
until
know-
she find that out, and then your bed go up in flames.
Right.
You know what I love about this, because it opened my eyes to a lot of this, and what it opened up for me and maybe some of the viewers that's watching is that this is really about being upfront and honest about what a lot of men and women do secretly.
Seriously.
Right.
You know, and a lot of people will have a problem with what you're doing, but like you said, I heard a lot of people say side chicks is winning. Well, why are you a side chick? Because you know he's married, you know he got somebody else, but you still rocking with that. But they'll look at this and won't
And frown on it.
Right,
Ain't that something? Ain't that something?
There
And we
you
talking
go.
about, and we together,
we talking about
family.
marriage.
You know what I'm
We
saying?
talking
That's
about
something.
marriage. That's what we talking about. People that's married and love each other.
Hey, when we do the part 2, I'm gonna have both of them on here.
Yeah.
So,
Hey,
I
let me
want to meet those ladies.
let me put your picture up. Let me show the audience the picture of your beautiful
Okay.
family, you with your wife. Let me put that up real quick. Hold on.
Beautiful.
And once she comes into the room, we'll switch the topic over. But let's start answering some questions in the comments until our next guest come in, so Beans could answer some of the questions for them. Can Empress, can you read some of the questions?
you about to
Some
show
of
that
them-
picture?
Yeah, I'm
I
about to
actually
put it
can't
up.
scroll back through. So the first question that I can see right now, nope, I can't.
That's
Lord.
the king of the queens.
I can't scroll back through. Hold me, let me see if I can do it on my computer.
So why don't we do this? Anybody that has questions, we're gonna take some questions now. We're gonna take 1 or 2 questions because our new guest is in the room now, and I want to give her some proper time because we got only about a half hour left.
Hey, beautiful women. Them 2 women, they beautiful. Them some beautiful women.
They
They
sure
are.
look at the king in the middle though. Look at the king.
All right, man.
Yes.
Listen, man.
Yes. Beautiful family. A beautiful family.
Thank you, thank you.
Hey, I hope this ain't a picture you took from coming to America too. Hey, Beans, I appreciate you, man, and let's set this up for you to come back again. Let's give him a round of applause.
Definitely gotta come back, please.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hey, listen, if y'all all follow me, I'm on Instagram at _BeesP. That's B as in boss, 2 E's, Z as in zero, P as in Paul. _BEEZP. You can find me on Instagram there, and on Facebook. You can. All you gotta do is click my name, Asha Sha'ala. It's in the title of this video, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And 216 if you want to listen to hip hop.
Right.
Okay.
Oh.
Right. There you go. Hey, Beans, I appreciate you, man. I'm gonna bring our next guest in. Salute,
All right.
my
All
brother.
right, B.
Love.
Thank you, P.
So that was an interesting segment.
That
but
was
now
great.
We're gonna segue now into another marriage that's slightly different. It's not polygamy, but it's a very, very interesting dynamic that she has in her relationship. I'm gonna bring her in the room now. I'm gonna wait till she's ready. Give me a thumbs up if you're ready, right? Okay, here she is. How you doing, Rice?
Hey, how y'all doing?
Good, good.
What's up?
So tonight's topic is polygamy, but your relationship has nothing to do with polygamy.
No.
Right. And so what we're gonna dive into now is what we consider what I coined it, alternative lovers. So tell us a little bit about your relationship and give them some background of who you are.
Okay, so my name is Rice. Everybody calls me Rice. And basically, my background is multifaceted, basically. So I come from a background where I have education, but I come from a background where I also am street smart. So I used to strip and stuff like that. I do cam modeling every now and then,
Okay.
or whatever. And also I'm in the automotive industry and I do art. So
Okay.
I've been married we got married in 2016.
Okay.
Right. So I'm 35 and my husband is 54.
Okay.
We have one child together.
Right.
And so for me, right, so my ideology was, I think before, when I was younger, I had the mindset that, oh, a person must be faithful to me. But once I got into the industry around other women that were stripping or that working, I'm gonna just say working girls
Right.
like myself. A lot of our clientels were married couples.
Hmm.
So I
Couples, married
began,
couples.
Couples.
yeah,
Yeah.
married couples. So I began to realize that what I was raised to think is not what's really going on out here. You know what I'm saying? So that's when my whole mindset changed. And so then I began to dig a little bit deeper into it, and I realized that scientifically men and women are made differently. So men have testosterone, which creates a whole nother different dynamic, meaning that my belief, this is just me based off of scientific evidence, and you can find this on Google as well from a lot of other different scientists, that because of testosterone, men are going to want more. They're not going to. It's not really biologically in their makeup to just f. If I don't know if I can curse on here,
No,
No.
no
to
curse.
f
No.
one woman for the rest of their life. Like, it's just not in their biological makeup to do. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? So once
Did you and
I
could I just ask one question? And as you were in your profession and dancing, through your experience with dealing with that, is that kind of how you came up with that mindset of men just don't want one woman, or like how did you come about thinking that way?
Yeah, so the more parties that I went to and I hosted, that the more married couples that I saw, that's how I developed that mindset. Because at first I was like, I had the mindset that a lot of many other women have, that, oh, I'm gonna meet this person, it's gonna be monogamous, blah blah blah, and that's just not how it is for real. Like, you know what I'm saying? Once I got into that lifestyle, I saw so many married couples out here swinging, doing threesomes, and so on and so forth. And it works for them. It doesn't mean the man don't love you. It's just in their makeup to do. They're going to want to they're going to want some other shit. Like, they're
Right.
gonna want vanilla today, and then tomorrow they may want chocolate. You know what I'm saying? So it's it's up to you to understand your partner and understand what the game really is. It's really not about the emotional part about it. It's the physical part. So the dynamic of my relationship is, hey, if I see a chick I like, because I'm bi, so if I see a chick I like, and I may want to bring her in, but if he see a chick he like, he pass her my number, and then we could go from there, basically.
Right.
So it just depends on our type. You know what I'm saying? So she could be chocolate and look good as fuck. You know what I'm saying? Or she could be whatever. It just depends on how thick she is. Cause I'm thick, so that's what it is over here.
Right.
So so that's how I developed that mindset. And what I try to tell women is, because I hear on YouTube, because I got a podcast on YouTube, the RVSOP podcast, is
Okay.
that because they say, oh, I'm looking for a man to be faithful to me. I'm like, what? Like,
So you don't
that's
think a
not.
man can be faithful?
No, no. A man can be faithful,
Okay.
but he can be faithful. However, it, a man can be faithful, but it's not in his biological makeup for you to force him to be like that. Because I hear a lot of women trying to force a man to be faithful to them, when say you meet somebody today and you fall in love with that person, and you be
Right.
like, yeah, I want to be with this person for the rest of my life. But then maybe a few years later, he might want something different. That don't mean he don't care about you or whatever. It just means that he want to just open up the door to bring somebody in to spice it up. Now, the reason why we don't do polygamy is because I feel like you do what works for you. But the
Right.
reason why we don't do it is because we don't have the time to do it. His belief and my belief is that it's not enough time to I can't equally give my time to whoever you bring in this household, and you can't either. That's just our mindset. So you can, so
Let me ask you a
what you
question,
can
Miss
give
Rice.
me. Hmm.
So, Miss Rice, so basically for you, it's more, do you feel like it's more of a physical thing? It's more, when you guys have the urge, you guys go and, you satisfy that urge. You're not looking for like a long-term thing, like, to be in a relationship with someone other than your
Right.
husband.
Right, we're not looking for to be in another relationship with another person because, and the reason why, it's not that we can't do it. It's just that down the long road, we know that person is gonna want more.
Mm.
They're gonna want to. They're gonna want more time. They're gonna want more. They're gonna
Yeah.
want what I have. They're gonna want that. You know, which in
Politics.
my opinion can get dangerous because if she come in to see me sleeping in the bed with you all night, she gonna want that too eventually, and she
Right.
may get jealous and stab me in my damn sleep. And then, you know what I'm
Right.
So let me ask you a question. Why do you think that urge is unique to men?
saying? I think your name is Empress.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. Um, I think that urge is unique for men because of their testosterone and what they're biologically made of. Like women, we have more estrogen.
So I'm gonna be a little
So,
bit of an a-hole for a second. I have a degree in
mm,
biology. That's what I do for a
okay.
living. Women do
Hmm.
have testosterone as well, and
No, we do. I didn't say
our
that we
sexual
didn't.
urges are for reproduction. Like if we're going to talk biologically speaking. So if men have an urge for reproduction, so do we. I think
I
we're
didn't.
taught
I
that
didn't
we're
say
not
that we
supposed to
didn't.
have sexual urges as women. I think we're taught that, but when we get by ourselves and we have girl talk, I think we're just as horny as the men are.
I
Probably
concur.
so. Probably so. And,
So
We
A
and
little worse. A little worse.
so
you
so
might be, Griffey.
so I guess I want to. What made me want to bring you on the show was I loved your perspective on how you left your comments on the page, and I thought they were
Hmm.
very honest, they were very blunt, and they were very
Yep.
real. And you don't get a lot of women that really, and I'm not speaking for all women because there's a lot of cool women. I see a lot of my friends in the comments, and they definitely speak in their mind. But a lot of women tend to say something, but not exactly. If you know what
Hmm.
I mean, like they'll say something, but they won't say
You beat
exactly.
around the bush.
Right,
Hmm.
somewhat, especially when it comes around sexual, you know, um, feedback or comments. They kind of keep it light, and I guess the reasons are social media and things of that nature. But what I
Hmm.
liked about you and why I wanted to bring you onto the show is because just your comments, and then I started kind of looking at the stuff that you were doing. Now I'm pretty sure a lot of people might feel different, but how does it work for you to be married, right? And
Hmm.
then also be a mom, and then also make time for those things that you're doing with your husband. But I noticed you also have an OnlyFans page that you promote. That
Yes.
just blew me away, and I'm like, wow,
Make sure
she's
you drop
married.
that info, drop that information, Miss Rice.
I know
Okay.
I'm
Yes.
serious
So
now.
how does that work with I know it by what you're saying, your husband is pretty open and y'all
Mhm.
pretty, but how does that work with the OnlyFans page and
Um, at first, you guys, honestly, he wasn't. He like before OnlyFans, he was like, before OnlyFans, he was like, I don't want you doing that no more, blah blah blah. Because like I said, I'm in the auto industry, um, in the corporate aspect of it,
right?
and so he was
Oh.
like, you don't got to do that no more, boo boo boo. And so I think that he saw like, because he's older than me. Remember, it's an age gap here,
Right.
Yeah.
so he's more old school.
How many
So when
how old is he again?
he's
And how old are you?
54,
He's
Yeah. He's
54 and you're how old?
I'm 35.
So that's like
yeah.
20 years, 19 years.
19 years.
Yeah, so it's an age gap there. So when I'm with somebody, I got to respect their wishes. You feel me? So I'm not gonna
Yeah.
do something that makes that person uncomfortable. But I feel like over the years he's become more open to. He see that social media is a market for certain things, and so he was more open to it. He's like, you should make an OnlyFans, because there's couples on there, and he was like, maybe we could be on there too. And I was like, all right, you know what I'm saying? So I just made one.
So do you do it with him? Do you do it with your husband?
I don't do it with him right now. He just decided I could just do it by myself. So he not on there with me.
Okay.
So that
Okay.
was the conversation you had with him, and y'all worked that out.
Right. Yep.
So because we're kind of short on time, I want to bring you back and dive deeper into this. Are you available to tap in?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
'Cause we got like 15 minutes left, and I
Okay.
want to kind of wrap up with the crew. But let's give Rice a hand.
Yes. Thank you, girl.
Thank you so much.
Right, to talk
Thank
about
y'all.
topics. Is it anything you want to leave where people can reach you and stuff like that before we wrap up?
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all can reach me. My Instagram is TEATR1, the number 1CE. So y'all can reach me on there and message me or whatever the case may be. And then you'll see the link. My website is r31st.com. So you can find all my social media links on there.
Okay, give
So
it
they
to
want
him.
that OnlyFans.
Give it to him one more time. Give it to him one
That's,
more time.
that's
Say
R31st.
for everyone.
That's r31st.com.
Okay, and the Instagram?
My Instagram is Teatrice, so it's TEATR1, the number 1CE.
Okay, thank you. And we'll have you come back, and we're gonna give you some more time. I just didn't want to hurt you. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank
All
you, Miss
right, bye,
Rice.
y'all.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
Thank you so much.
So our first show, how y'all feel?
Wait, can we celebrate real quick?
Yeah, let's celebrate real quick.
Pop song.
Yo, we need a song.
Look, come on.
I got cups.
So how y'all feel about today's show? Let's start with Chef Tammy.
Oh my God, it was so good. Bees P.
Right.
So informative. Okay, granted, we all had bullet points and we all had questions we wanted to ask,
Right.
but this guy is so put together. We didn't even have to ask anything. I felt like we were in like a life class, actually. You know what I'm saying? Like a master class. And he just taught us. And you know, sometimes you just have to listen. You know, you just have to be there to listen and get the information and hear the information so that you can negate some of the judgments and the perceptions that you may have had. I mean, he knocked several of my perceptions out of my head. The man is very informative and he gives a lot of good points. What about you, Drippy? What did you think?
I think it was a great night. I think it was good energy. I think it was very informative, and he gave people some perspective that maybe they wasn't thinking about. Because that was dope. That was really dope. And Empress, what was your thoughts on that?
I am super excited. I think it was super dope. I think it was super informative. I think he was very well spoken. And it gave a perspective that most people don't think about. And I'm so glad he did that.
Right.
I'm reading the comments and it seems people are excited. I tried to come into it with an open mind because I can be very opinionated. And it looks like our viewers are really asking questions and it's dope.
Right. And so my take on it as well, you know, I know Bees for a few years and I was just shocked that he actually lived that lifestyle. And, you know, one thing that I took from it was when you're looking at a relationship, no matter if you're in a relationship like Bees, a relationship like Rice or ours, it all comes down to one thing or a couple of things. And those couple of things are compatibility, respect,
absolutely,
and communication. And what I found in both scenarios was, even though it was a little exotic, so to speak, they all seemed to know how to have respect for each other.
Absolutely.
And what they were doing, and they learned how to communicate, which we can all take something from. You know,
can I say something?
Go ahead.
He made a point in saying that monogamy is what causes divorce and not polygamy. But I honestly think it's the things you just listed. Because in order to have a successful relationship, monogamous or polygamous, you need those things.
Right.
And divorce happens from a lack of one or more of those things.
Right.
And when it comes down to like cheating, you didn't get divorced because he or she cheated. You got divorced because he or she failed to communicate with you.
There you go.
Whoa.
There you go.
Say that.
Yeah, and what did you guys think of Rice and her situation?
I thought she was great. I thought she was great. I thought she was extremely informative. Unfortunately, our Bees Piece segment went a little longer, so we didn't get to really delve into her situation. But I'd love to speak to her again. She's very smart. She's very informative, and she knows what she's talking about. And she again, just like Bees Piece, she had her points. She had her points. She had her points as to why she does what she does, why she doesn't choose to be in a polygamous relationship, because that takes too much time.
Right.
But if you notice, they kind of align still, because it still required them to express their needs to their spouse.
Absolutely.
Boundaries. They all got boundaries. Even though
I think the whole situation was just fantastic. I think it was great all the way around. I think both guests were really great. They were both really informative. But Rice, I would look forward to speaking to Rice again. Like really getting, really just hearing more from her. You know what I'm saying? On, how do they link up with people? How do they choose their mates? Like, how do they? What are the rules to engagement? Do you guys go out? Does one go out and pick the other one? How does this work?
Right.
Yes, what were you saying?
And Drippy?
The inner workings.
She wanted to know the stuff that I wanted to ask, because I was like, what are y'all bringing in? Men, women? Like you stopped me. You was like, we're gonna get back at part 2. So I was like, all right, you got me.
Yeah, I look forward to speaking to her again.
Yeah. And so my take on it, I thought she was very articulate, and I thought she was very well put together as far as how she perceived her relationship. I like the fact that she talked about when she wanted to do something, she had enough respect for her husband to talk it over with him. To kind of,
absolutely.
Like we said, we got some segments coming up where we're going to be talking about, masculinity in women and cheating and entanglements. We got some juice and we got some spice for y'all, But we wanted to kick the show off right. We wanted to kick the show off with a lot of, I guess, things that you can learn from. Is that because I learned some things?
Absolutely. I learned so much. I learned so much this evening. I really did. It was quite informative.
Definitely.
Yeah, and I think our goal is to make sure that you guys learn something but are entertained. I want to make sure that you guys also go to the main page. The official page is The Conversation with James Billings and Friends on Facebook. Make sure you join. We'll be going live here for 3 more shows, and then it's going to go off my page and strictly on the official page. So at the end of March, it will be strictly on our official page. It will no more live stream here. So you guys got anything to say?
Well, I gotta say, if you got nothing to do, play Last Couple.
Oh no, talk about that. That's right. That's our sponsor for tonight. I forgot. That's our sponsor for tonight.
We got a sponsor. We came in with a sponsor. Last Couple standing a new dating game. You got a little couple of your crew, you out. Y'all ain't got nothing to do. It's date night, late night. Make it a great night, man. Play Last Couple standing. Get your crew together. A couple of dates, Yeah, have a little crew of 4, a little crew of 8.
Right.
Play the game, man. Make it date night. Find out who's the strong couple, who's the weak couple, where you need to work on your relationship. This is not a proved game, though. They're going to ask you some crazy questions. They're going to ask you some situations, and they're going to put you in some things that's going to make you have to expound your brain, man. Get it together. Play Last Couple standing. Timmy, let's talk about them drinks, though.
Okay, so tonight's conversation cocktail, which I unfortunately pretty much drank the majority of it. this show was just so juicy. Okay, so tonight's cocktail was grapefruit vodka with pink grapefruit juice, and it is called a Greyhound. So if you want to rewatch this segment, rewatch this episode, go make yourself a grapefruit vodka and grapefruit and enjoy. Back to you.
Right. Every episode, Chef Tammy will be giving you guys a conversation cocktail that y'all can have with us. We'll post it in the comments. So as we unfold in the show, y'all can sip with us. I don't do the sipping. Everybody know I don't drink, but I might have one for the road. Empress, you got any words that you want to say before we get out of here?
I just want to say great energy following the comments. I love seeing everybody's feedback. Please don't feel shy to talk to us. That's what we're here for. It's a conversation. Please, if you think of something or have a question for us, post it on the page. We love the discussion. We can, if it's a lengthy discussion, we got another topic for the show, so you can help us out. Follow us, invite your friends, invite your family. We love seeing y'all.
That's right. Tammy, Drippy. Oh, I just want people to know that I have a private chat room set up at 8:30. If you want to come into that room, and I'll be answering some questions for you outside after the show is over. Make sure y'all go to the official page, tap in on that, and I'll be answering questions one-on-one with whoever's in the room. I'm only allowing 20 people in the room, so first come, first serve. And you know, we got about 5 minutes left. Let me let Bees. I think Bees is in. He's in, slid back in. Hold on.
Bees,
Hey, look, hey, Craze, I just wanted to congratulate you, man. Listen, man, this is a beautiful podcast right here. Brother Drip.
Hey, hold up. Before you call it a podcast, we call it a live cast.
Live cast. Hey, Drip, he's the perfect brother for you to have on here. And these two sisters, man, they beautiful. They got the right spirits, man. This beautiful, bro. You got you one here.
Thank you.
You can't break this. You can't break this nucleus right here. You know
That's right. Tell them this is nucleus.
Yeah, y'all all feed off each other. Great, man. This is it, Craig. You got one right here, bro.
Thank you, man. And I want to
Can we say hi
to everybody? Go ahead. Sorry, Empress. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm such a mush. I love. Can we say hi to your wives?
They don't know. They want to stick their faces in this camera. And you know what? I'm gonna make sure that they on the next show. Or like I said, when y'all follow me, y'all will be able to see.
Oh, we're gonna follow you.
You know, to see my wives and things of that nature. I don't know if they got on bonnets and all kinds of stuff.
We look forward to meeting them. We look forward to meeting them.
So she said they cooking, but they can hear y'all.
All right now.
Thank you.
Thanks for the love. We will definitely be on with y'all to talk a little bit.
I hear.
Okay, you know, one thing I want to shout out everybody in the comments. Everybody, let me just give a list of people real quick that I see in here. Because they've been showing us so much love. Let me get to it. Somebody say something until I get to the comments.
Priest Brooklyn, you are hilarious.
Hilarious.
Watch the comments going. You are so funny.
You had me laughing.
Priest Brooklyn wants to open a church. He said he'd be your first member.
He want you a Rice. He want Rice to be the deacon and you to be the pastor.
Yeah.
I want to give some shout outs to the people in the room that keep things going. I want to give a shout out to Felicia Davis. She kept the room shaking tonight with her comments. My man John Wallinger, shout out to you. Jessica Mendez, my cousin Regina Poole, Bruce Evans, Pamela Bryant. Let me see. Let me go down the list. Leslie, my homie. She got her a comment. So I just want to shout out the people that's been holding us down. My brother Major, and everybody else that's just been a part of the show is cool. We're gonna slide out of here. Next Sunday, 7 p.m. We're gonna come back with some new topics. We might come back with bees. We'll work all those things out. But whatever we do in the name of educating you, entertaining you. But most of all, we want you guys to learn something. I know I shake a lot of things up on the page when I put up certain questions. And ladies be going at me crazy. Tammy be killing me all the time, hun. And, but I love y'all for it. And Bees, thank you, man. Like what you showed tonight, I want to reiterate it before we get out of here. What you showed tonight was a brother that has love, respect, adornment, and honor in his relationship. And no matter what anybody thinks about what it is, I know that's all encompassed in love. Right. And I salute you, my brother, and shout out to your wives and your family. And I can't wait to have you back.
Thank you, man. Again, follow me on my Instagram because you'll get more insight on what I'm doing. So
give him your Instagram. We got 30 seconds. Give him your Instagram.
Underscore Bees P. BEEZ P as in Paul. That's my Instagram. And we put together a docu-series on polygyny where I'm bringing cameras into my household. So
right.
There you go. There you go.
Thank you, brother.
So thank y'all. If y'all want to join the private conversation with me, click that button, and we're out of here. Peace.
Peace.
We did that.
Yeah, we did.
Wait, we're still live.
I know. We're getting ready to get out of here, though. Here we go.
It's so phenomenal. Yeah. It's so incredible. Yeah. Because of you, I wrote this song. Now it's on the radio.